out of breath from running upstairs because I thought the thing, and now I'm here.
Yeah, but it adds authenticity to the podcast.
Hi.
You know. Hi, everybody.
I haven't even said hello to you yet. How you doing?
No. Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm sweating now because I went downstairs and back up again. It's far too many steps to add on to the steps.
Yeah. What did you go downstairs for?
I went, the thing for this thing. So
I
can
hear
you.
The hearing things.
That thing.
Oh.
Which goes in the thing. There we go.
Nice. how you doing?
Sound test.
Yep. We got that.
Do all those things.
No, we got the sound test. That's good.
Have we?
Yeah, I asked how you doing. How are you? We're good. We're past that.
I'm fine. I played a lovely game of Warhammer Horus Heresy today, and I'm playing a game of Warhammer 40k tomorrow with our friend Sultan from Sultan Plays YouTube channel.
Yeah, he is our friend, and we also did a little bit of brother for the Emperor. We did all that, didn't we?
We did some of that. What's your central class? What's your class?
The Bulwark.
What rank are you?
7 or something. I'm not.
7. That's good.
Yeah, I'm just working my way through. I'm a power sword user. Power sword.
Yeah.
We're of course talking about Space Marine 2, which came out last week. Yeah. Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
It's very Moorish.
It's really Moorish.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
I've got to say, when I first started playing it, I was like, "Is this going to be good?" Like, I was like, "It's fun." Like, I was hacking away at stuff, and it kind of, the more you play it, the more it reveals a lot more how you play. You realise that this is no easy tap a button and get through.
No,
you've got to really think about what you're doing, work with your squad, and you've got to purge the Xenos in the name of the Emperor. And
you've got to learn to parry properly. Left bumper. Get a fencing. You've got the sword, so you want a fencing sword.
I've gone for the fence. Gone for it. I've got this down.
It's block, balance, and fencing. Those 3 types. Block means you don't have a perfect parry window, but opens up your block thing. Balance is somewhere in between the two. You can do a perfect parry, and fencing opens up your perfect parry window, but lowers your block window. If you pull off a perfect parry, then you can get the execution shots, headshots, things like that, which sometimes don't kill extremists or majoris dudes. But it's all about the parry. At the start, I was just hacking away like a maddened beaver, but now I'm more precise.
It's not about that. It's also about finding out that the power sword actually has 2 stances.
Yes.
And I was there just bashing away on the kind of dueling stance, which is designed for fighting more elite enemies. And then I was wondering why I was getting mobbed by termagants, and it was really sad. And then I held down the switch stance button, and all of a sudden I was swinging around. Anyway, I've learned all my combos.
That's cleave.
Much better at it.
Your cleave value will tell you how many things you can cleave through.
Yeah.
So the power sword with a higher cleave value with the power turned on will cleave through many, but one on its own just cleave. Yeah, one. Yeah. Which is why the Power Fist has a very high cleave value, because that's more of an aero effect.
Yeah.
Power Fist are a bit weird in the game compared to real life, because obviously we all know we've all used Power Fists in real life, and they're very good at dealing one single blow to one single enemy. But in this game, it's more of an area.
Yeah. It's like a big punch out forward.
Yeah.
And what I find is quite often in Space Marine 2, which is all we're going to talk about. This is the Space Marine 2 podcast, by the way. There's actually quite a few questions sort of related to Space Marine 2 and stuff. But what I did find was with the Power Fist, it's very much like a short range cannon in front of you. It's like firing a grape shot, and it's very good at that. But quite a lot of the time, you're getting swarmed from the sides, and it's a little bit too slow. I'm sure it's really good, but for me, I'm a Black Templar. I've got all my purity seals.
Nice.
I've written an oath of moment, and I've stuck it to my forehead. I've got my power sword out, and I'm hoping we'll get some more games in when I'm less busy. But last night I tackled the average difficulty.
Yes. Just
in a 2-man.
Yes. With
one of my buddies, and we got through it.
Yeah.
And that was definitely. I noticed that our skill is ranking up
with
an AI Phobos guy running around with us, and he was like, all he does is get us up when we're down.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, that was Space Marine 2. It came out, I'm sure everybody watching this has either seen it or played it or done something to do with it. Let us know what you think of it. I think it's bloody amazing. And I'm going to be fighting Xenos and other things in the name of the Emperor for as long as I can.
Yeah.
And I just want to get really good at it. I want to be able to run through the hardest difficulty operations, and hopefully that horde mode will come out down the line.
4th season, right? They've done the season roadmap of what's coming, and they say horde mode in season 4, so it looks like we're going to get 3 months per season. And season 1 is supposed to be September, so we are in September.
Yep.
So there's a new map coming, a new operations, new bad guy, new weapons. That's supposed to be coming, hopefully not at the 30th of September, hopefully sometime before then, because we's are thirsty Warhams.
We are thirsty.
We need more Warhams.
So one of the questions I'd like to ask our audience is how many people have sprayed Space Marines blue since playing
Why
Space
have
Marine
you
2?
Got blue Space Marines?
Because I want some Ultramarines now.
How many projects have you got on the go? And now you've started another project.
Just 3.
Finish what?
Just 3. I've just got Custodes, Ultramarines, and Imperial Agents on the go. And
that seems perfectly manageable. 3 armies at the
fine.
same time. That seems fine.
Yeah, Custodes, you just dry brush a bit of a colour on top of another colour. I've got some Sternguard veterans. Got given them today by my lovely wife. She hid them. She told me to go change the baby, right, when I got in. And I picked the baby up and I couldn't really smell anything. And I was like, yeah, maybe, mums know this stuff.
Yes.
Went to change the baby, and in the nappy box were my Sternguard veterans. It was all a ruse. The baby didn't even need a change.
Nice.
She nearly got changed anyway because I didn't spot them at first.
Where can I get a hold of a baby? I need to change one now.
Yeah, I don't actually know how you get them, but I know that at some point you have to go to the hospital and they come out and you have one, and then you have to... I don't know how it gets in there.
You should stay away from hospitals. They're disease factories. People die in there,
Well, I went there and I came out with a baby that I had to look after forever.
Didn't you just get it off the internet like Angelina Jolie?
I should have done, yeah. There's
it would have
loads
been a lot easier.
There.
Yeah.
What we didn't talk about what class you play,
right?
By the way,
right?
Because we talked about what I like to do, swing a sword around. But what are you doing in Space Marine 2?
You see, it's not linear with me. I haven't touched the sniper dude, the grappling dude, or the assault dude with the jump pack. They're all still level 1.
Okay.
But the other 3 dudes, I've got like 3 other. Like I play with you and so on. We play that one, and in that one I'm the heavy dude.
Yeah.
He ain't heavy. He's my brother. That's me. Running around with a multi-melter, smashing fools, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sultan jumps in
Good
with
stuff.
his jump pack, smashes things with the thunder hammer. Someone's got to pick him up at some point.
Yep.
So that was my go-to with us, and I think I'm around level 15 now on that one.
Oh, okay. So next time you play, you're going to be like just gunning everybody down with all your perks and stuff.
It's nice. It's nice. I mean, the multi-melter, it's a big bada boom.
Yeah.
And then one click, bang, and the bugs are gone.
Yes.
And then I've got my tactical dude, and he's running around with another group of people, and he's level 9.
Okay.
And then with Alex SEO and Grey Knight SEO, we're a bit obsessed. And after midnight, many midnights, and sometimes very early in the morning, we're chonking around, trying to clear out substantial and ruthless level missions with my level 25 Bulwark, which is max level.
Okay.
Yes, baby.
Okay, so you've been playing the Bulwark at a high level. Do you use the... Because I was practicing the other day.
Yes.
And I noticed that at any point during your combo, you can just stop and you go into a little power stance and you do a big twirly.
Yes.
Do you do that? Do you switch stances? Do you do the combos, or are you just to swing it, swing and parry?
Honestly, I've been known to twirl. I've twirled a few times. The thing is, when you get to the higher levels, obviously there's more bosses spawn or mini bosses spawn, and things go up in power a bit, and there's more bad guys. You find yourself parrying a lot more.
Yeah.
So what I did do in my normal obsessive compulsive kind of way is, the trials that you can do.
Yes.
For each class, there's some trials. You do the trials, you get extra coin that you can spend in the shop and upgrade the thing. Yep. I went to the Bulwark class, the 3rd trial, which is just, it's like, it spawns. Anyway, I went in there for about an hour Off and on, off and on, off and on, off and on. Kill all the little bugs running at you.
Yeah.
You kill the guy at the back who's shooting you with a gun, and then leave a spawn, a Ravener or a Warrior. And you can just stay in there for as long as you live or kill the Warrior. Yeah. And I would just practicing and practicing and practicing.
You honed your craft.
And perfect parries and parries and perfect parries. And after about it was more than an hour. But after a period of time in the trials...
Yep.
Because I tried some ruthless ones and I was getting pooned. So I practiced my craft and then I went out there and then so yeah, the combos, the double, the bam 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 or the heavy light, heavy light, heavy light.
Yeah.
You find yourself doing less of that and more parry hit, parry, parry hit. That sort of stuff at the higher things with the bulwark. At the start though, twirl away.
Just twirling.
Yeah. But at the beginning, later on, more of the That's where that one is.
And I've learned I don't really use the shield very often, apart from if there's a ranged enemy.
Yes.
Obviously, so we can advance forward. But I stopped sleeping on the dodge.
Yeah.
And I know the dodge you have to do when there's a big red attack coming in.
Red attack.
But dodging at other times gives you one of those R2 things.
Perfect dodge opens up a perfect dodge window where you can do a gun strike. Perfect parry opens up a gun strike thing as well. You see, dodge,
gun strikes are great.
They're lovely.
Keeps your armor up. Looks amazing when you're in the middle of a battle and you just suddenly turn around, the camera turns around with you, just go pow with my plasma pistol. My master-crafted plasma pistol.
Plasma pistol, not cooked, just tap. Is weaker, than a bolt pistol. A bolt pistol, let's see if you think about it, it's a mass reactive exploding grenade. So bam, bam, they can one-shot the little bugs at the substantial level ruthless. You can go bam, bam, particularly when you've upgraded them. But a plasma pistol won't do that. Plasma pistol's a bit weaker if you just shoot. But
if you charge,
plasma pistol can charge. Exactly.
Tyranid Warrior in like 3 charges, just straight through the head, straight through the dome.
Yeah, and that's what it's good for because the little bugs when you bulwark, you don't have to worry about little bugs.
No.
Warbugs, no, it's the big one.
They do nada, and I'll tell you what is clutch is the bulwark's banner. You slam that down. You've got a few perks on it that do extra stuff as well, and you just slam that down the middle of the fight, and your assault guy will thank you for it. If he's, he'll bring them over and fight in the banner, and everyone's got their armor back. And
what I like about the banner is the fact that it's a magical banner with that aura.
Yeah.
Because if you believe strongly enough, I like the fact that the banner has psychic powers all of its own sort of thing, and that kind of originally was like, but now I'm like, that's a good way to represent that in a video game.
Yeah.
Because banners in the game do all sorts of things on the tabletop, and banner in the video game does all sorts of things on the tabletop. It's glorious.
Yeah. It's basically saying everyone within X inches gets their armor back and blah, blah, blah. It's giving you an aura ability. It's delicious. And the customization is delicious as well.
Yeah, mine reduces your banner. While you're in the radius, you take 10% less damage from shooting attacks.
Yep.
You take your contested health fades 50% less, and if you get an execution kill within the Baron or it'll recover. It does a few things when you get to, because you can play with the perks. That's another thing, because the perks for each class, normally when you play a video game, you're like, I'll take all the 3 lowest ones, the last ones I unlocked. That one, because they're clearly the best.
They're always the best ones,
Yeah, I like this about this game. It's not like that. It's like when you're running with a squad, certain ones at the top are clearly better than the ones at the bottom. But if you're running solo with some bots, you might want to change them around. That's why in each class there's 3 separate loadouts, so you can put your perks in different places depending on whether you're running on your own or whether you're running with a group. And I like that about the game. The last stuff you unlock is not necessarily the best things that you get.
Yeah, and you can definitely tweak your loadout to how you like to play. And if you're a little bit less responsive to things and find it hard to parry, then you've got the fencing option to give you much better parry window. Or if you just want to stand there and block and just go ham, it's got it all there for you.
So Sultan was telling me, because I think he's only done first time I got him with Sultan, he's got the Assault, Blood Angel, Thunder Hammer jump pack. I'm like, yep, I had, obviously that was what you were going for. Do you like him? Because he'd run a few times. And he was like, no, he's annoying me. I'm like, oh, okay, so you don't like the... Why is he annoying you? He said, because I haven't unlocked a yellow helmet yet or green eye lenses. I'm not Codex compliant. I'm like, what? So we ran a few missions so he could get his green eye lenses, and then Imperial Fist yellow for his helmet, and now he's got a Codex compliant assault jump
He's
intercessor.
a good man. He understands.
Now he's happy. And then he started doing some substantial things with me, and he kept going. He's like, this isn't working, and this and this and this. I said, look, you need to change your hammer so you've got balanced or fencing, because he picked the hammer that just does the most damage, which is a blocking hammer, so it couldn't do any perfect parries.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
And he picked it. It's a trap. And then he could parry, and now he's doing gun strikes like a boss. It's like, there we go. So he's Codex compliant.
It's the only way. It's the only way. If you get attacked by 4, 5, 6 Tyranid warriors at a time, if you can't parry or dodge, you can't hack your way through them. You've got to have people. You've got to have gun strikes. You've got to have executions waiting to happen, so you can have a quick dose of armor if you need it. You've got to have all kinds of stuff.
Or you can just roly-poly, 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 roly-poly while you're waiting for the 60 seconds to count down, so Warsmith Chris can pick his ass back off the ground.
Oh. When we first played, that was my very first venture into it. So next time we play, I'll be a Black Templar with absolute focus on my power sword. Just
have you ever seen a Space Marine in Gravis armor holding a multi-mel to do multiple roly-polies?
I haven't, no, but I'm sure it's a glorious sight.
Space Marine 2.
Now, have you seen these things? Like, if you want to become a Space Marine in real life,
right?
You can. There's these things called what they called bug assault. Bug assault, they're called. And the assault is kind of like a play on the words of what it actually is and kind of what it does. So you get they're definitely for men, right?
Right.
They're for angry men. They're like a revolver or a rifle or a shotgun, and you load salt into it,
right?
And you can shoot like flies. It's designed because it's like a scatter of salt. You use it to shoot bugs, and I just see them pop. I see it popping up now, and there must be something that the algorithm's getting confused with. All these dudes wanting to exterminate bugs in Space Marine has lifted this bug assault thing to the.
I'm writing that down. I don't know what it is, but I want one now. Tell me you can shotgun.
You can shoot flies out of the sky with just table salt. You just load it with table salt, and it fires it out.
Dude, I'm getting that.
Yeah.
Exterminate the bugs, that's what I say. That sounds glorious.
Then you could be a Space Marine in real life, and all you got to do then is just put on all your chunkiest coats, and then learn to do forward rolls just on the spot, and you can just be Space Marine too.
Be Space Marine.
Just one more thing about Space Marine, and then we're going to move on. But this isn't a spoiler, because I didn't want to really spoil anything, like talking about what happens in the game. But right at the very start of the game,
yes,
there's a Death Watch. It's something to do with the Death Watch,
yes,
and you get to play as a Space Marine in the full Death Watch gear. And man, it's such a to see these armors rendered so well. They put so much effort into the look of everything in this game, and the armors are so beautifully rendered. The Death Watch armor just looks absolutely fantastic to run around in. Like, it really made me appreciate Death Watch.
Here's the thing: if Games Workshop had any idea what they did, I mean, this video game sold 2 million copies in the first weekend or something.
Yes, 2 million copies.
They would have some department set up somewhere where you could go online and click and buy the Space Marine that you set up in Space Marine 2. Like, take a screenshot or something. There should be a link.
That takes it out of the thing.
You click, and it goes you to a warning page. Are you sure you want to come here to buy your Space Marine? And it goes to Games Workshop, and you go click, and you pay. And then a week later, they send you with all the stuff and all the things and how you set it up in Space Marine 2. And they charge $1 million because it is Games Workshop. Yeah. But they would still sell hundreds of thousands of these things. Your Space Marine from Space, your Bulwark Black Templar with all of its bling on.
Yeah. You get to name him, and they'll put the name on the base.
Yeah.
And you just chuck him in your Space Marine army. Like, this is my dude. I've had all these adventures with him in Space Marine 2, and now he's on the tabletop, and I'm living out my dream. This is, and one of the things that I've found just amazing about this, right? 2 million copies sold.
Yeah.
There's 2 million people out there who clearly want to live out the fantasy of being a gigantic steroid-induced badass. Yeah, just a complete murder machine. There's an appetite for it. Come on, Games Workshop. People want to be mindless killing machines. It's obvious.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things we love about Warhammer 40k, right? Everyone is an arsehole.
It's over the top.
Bad. Everyone's a villain, but villains are fun.
Yeah.
The Joker, Darth Vader. They're all bad guys are cool in some way, shape, or form, right? And you get to Warhammer 40k. Even the Tau. I'm sorry, Tau players out there, but you lot are arseholes too. Everyone's an arsehole. It's the 41st millennium. There is only war. It's grim and dark. Have fun. That's why we like it. You get to be the bad guy. You get to be a ruthless killing machine, genocidal maniac. We love 40k.
Yeah, and if you're sitting on the fence or you're waiting for it to be cheaper or whatever,
Monkey.
if this gushing over Space Marine 2 isn't enough, just think if you have a stressful day at work. You come home from a stressful day at work and you're like, what would I do? How about if I play as a post-human demigod, an angel, because there's lots of Cadians running around who are like, oh my gosh, he's an angel, it's come to save us and everything. And why would you not want to just unwind, just killing 10,000 evil, mindless bugs? You don't have to worry about the morality of it. These things are literally here to eat and destroy and consume biomass and then jump in a big pool of acid and then go and do it again somewhere. You can have there's zero guilt involved. You just have to blast them all away and save mankind. It's incredible.
Yeah. Video games are supposed to be fun, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I like the attention to details. Like, still, I stop and look at the vistas. I stop and listen to some of the conversations with the guardsmen every now and then, and still they come up with some lines that I haven't seen before. Like, I watched one the other day, literally last night, like me and Sultan were chatting to each other. We stood there, and a little Cadian guardsman next to us, after a Tyranid assault, ran over to a dead Tyranid and bayoneted it a few times while it was on the ground. I'm like, someone coded that. That is epic.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of bayonet charges. It's fantastic. You can tell the team that made this game definitely knew the source material. Yeah. At least some of them were definitely big 40k fans. I know the one of the head guys of it has read all the books, and when people ask him questions on Twitter, he's like, "Yeah, that's the Mark something armor from this. Have you read this book? Because it'll tell you more about that. And have you read this book?" So he definitely knows what's going on with it, and I think you can tell that's really come across in it. And
hey, look, there are nerds who do things and are big fans as well, like this guy and like Henry Cavell. There's just we have infiltrated all levels of society now.
Yeah.
There's Warhammer 40k players. If we joined together as a cult and started worshipping the God Emperor of Mankind, we could take over this world.
Yeah, and we might wish him into being. There might be enough of us to wish. I mean, I'm not sure I'd like to live in the Imperium of Man, but good. It would be worth it. It'd be fun.
Say you lived in the Imperium of Man, and you were a member of one of the ruling houses of a hive city.
Yeah. You'd have a great time, wouldn't you? And you'd eat synth fruits and all that kind of stuff.
You'd have actual proper oranges and apples,
or a real orange,
and live for hundreds and hundreds of years. You'd have synth skin.
Yeah,
things like
they
that.
Can do all that, can't they? They can slow down aging and things.
Rejuvenate treatment.
Yeah. We'll get on that. We might need a little bit of that soon. So
not everything in Warhammer 40k is absolutely horrible. There is 0.000000001% who actually have got it quite well.
Yeah, like a rogue trader, for example. They've got
some of them.
Some of them can do whatever. Yeah,
some of them.
You get your own quadrant of the galaxy and of an area, and you're in charge of planets, and you're rich.
Yeah,
there's that. And you can tell people off and stuff. Inquisitors have got a rough job, but they've got a lot of power to do stuff they want to do.
I wouldn't want to be an Inquisitor.
It would be kind of rough because of what you actually have to face, the idea of it. But it's compared to being like a guardsman being sent off to definitely die, an Inquisitor's probably got a bit more. You got a bit more control. You could send your inquisitorial agents to do a lot of the dirty work for you if you wanted to, but
I imagine there's some lazy Inquisitors out there that don't leave the office very much. It's a big
Send them
galaxy.
out. Yeah.
There's room for everything.
I think you would want to live under Ultramarine rule, though, wouldn't you? You'd want to live...
500 worlds is pretty good.
Yeah.
There are some nice feudal worlds as well, but if you're living on a feudal world, then you're not really in Warhammer 40k, so it's not anything. There's that world where... Have you read the Iron Snakes book?
No, I haven't. No.
That's a very good intro book. I think it's called the Iron Snakes, something Snakes. It's a Dan Abnett book. It's a standalone Space Marine novel. It's a very, very good entry point for anyone listening to get into the Warhammer 40k books. If you want a good single standalone book, or if you're not that knowledgeable about the lore, this is a really good one to start as well, because the world which they stay on originally, the first world, there's many worlds, but the first world at the beginning of the book where they're on is generally speaking an okay kind of place. Dark Eldar turn up, it goes a bit bad, but before that, it's just what I'm saying is there are some quite nice worlds. Some of them.
Lords of Silence, they're on an agri world at the start, aren't they?
That's just the Death Guard, right?
Yeah, it's the Death Guard one.
Standalone book.
It's fine until the Death Guard come down, and it was fine. But an agri world must be quite nice because it's all just like farms and crops and whatever they're making.
It's kind of like that in a lot of Warhammer 40k books. It's a nice place, but
then this happened, yeah. And when the Death Guard come, it is really bad. And I think Lord of Silence follows someone who gets captured by the Death Guard, and you see like what happens to them over the course of serving their new masters, and that's fantastic.
His descent down, it's nice. That's Lord of Silence,
and it's very, very poignant ending as well, which is well worth the read to get to it. So,
damn, I got to read that book again. I read that book ages ago.
I need to read it too.
I'm gonna write that one down as well.
Yeah, it also gives you a completely different perspective on what Death Guard are actually like.
They're quite happy people.
Between them, they just, if you look past the bits hanging out and the organs and the stink and everything, they're generally still cool with each other, and they still feel like Astartes, and they still,
most people in the 41st millennium are pretty miserable.
Yeah,
not the Death Guard. They're rather jolly.
I believe in that book as well. One of the main characters, one of the main Death Guard characters, actually mentions that the Death Guard don't have that hatred anymore. They don't have the anger left over from the Horus Heresy and what happened, and that so to them they're just back to being Astartes now. They just smell really, really bad, like really bad, and you get terrible acne if you go near them, and all kinds of stuff, and boils in your groin,
nappy rash,
runny nose, pink eye,
not green eye.
Well, a bit of green and pink eye. It's all the different eyes.
A third eye. Coming from a third nipple.
I've got a couple of updates to give, by the way. Three things.
Yes.
First of all, Henry Cavill hasn't played 10th edition.
Okay.
No, fair enough.
Is this a fact?
That's a fact. He was on a chat show, and they said, well, when was the last time you played? They asked him, and he said, yeah, I play Custodes. I like Custodes. Yep. And they said, when was the last time you played? He said, I haven't played 10th edition yet. So he's busy. He's making all the films and stuff, isn't he?
It's good that he knows that it is 10th edition.
He does, yeah. I'm pretty sure that man is listening to the audiobooks on his journeys and stuff,
He's a casual gamer.
Yeah.
It's fine. He likes it.
But he's busy as well. He's busy. And funny enough, he's one of the people that can afford probably all the armies, and yet he only has one. So
yeah, and he paints them as well. He can afford to ship them off, get a full Custodes range, 20,000 points painted back again. But no, paint them,
paints them up.
Yeah.
The second update is after last week's appeal for Free Terror.
Free Terror.
The saga continues.
What is it?
Tacticus. It's a mobile game. It's a 40k tactical mobile game. Character collector. Blah blah blah.
Yes, you had like 3 people in your guild or something.
One person.
One person in your guild.
Yeah. So I joined this guild. It only had one guy in it, and I was in there, and I was like, I want to join it because I was just getting back into the game, and I didn't want to go into a big guild and ruin all their stuff with not knowing what I was doing. So I went in, and I was like, okay, I've got back in the swing of things. I know what I'm doing, but we still only have the 2 of us. Put out the message. So the day the podcast went out, the guild was full. So I don't even know how many people from the podcast got managed to actually get in, because I think the more people that joined, the more people wanted to join it who were just coming across it.
How many days was the guild open before the podcast?
Loads
of days.
Yeah.
And
At
then
least
we did the
2
podcast
months.
closed. What is full? How many people is full?
I think 26 people at the moment.
To you, 26 people or 24 people who joined Warsmith Chris and the Free Tele Guild, we salute you.
Legends. I know one of them's called Soul Hunter. He definitely heard the call.
Okay.
And the other people, whoever you are, I really apologise, but say if you join from the podcast, say it in chat so I know who it was, because I know there's at least there was at least another guy who joined who I think, anyway.
Wow.
Let me know and I'll be like, yeah, thanks, and I'll say thank you personally.
Oh man,
here.
The saga continues.
But we're doing great, and we'll see how it goes, because who knows what happens next. Maybe a bunch of people leave and we have to get more people in. Then
have you played it at all since then, because Space Marine 2 and Baby and things? Non-stop
is so. The reason why I played, why I got back into it, is my cousin, who he was into Warhammer before me. He's older than me. He was into Warhammer before me.
Is his name Vinny?
Vinny, we can call him Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin was I thought the best painter in the universe.
Okay.
When I was a kid, we look back at it now and we realise, we had kid eyes on it, and he's getting back into it now. He's getting back into painting. But he said when he had his child, he downloaded Tacticus because he had to set up. There's lots of waiting with babies and sitting around waiting for stuff to happen and trying to get them to sleep and all this kind of stuff. And it's perfect for that. Run around. I've got Titus unlocked, so I've been running around as Titus in Tacticus, chopping stuff up, and I've got a Blood Angel I've just got, and it's great.
Last time you spoke, you were stuck at a baddie. You sent out a call for aid. Has the baddie been vanquished?
Mate, we trashed. So we were fighting a Hive Tyrant, absolutely destroyed. Miles, but we've killed loads of people since then. We've destroyed loads of big Tyranid bugs and other stuff, and we've got up to the Lehman Russ boss, I think, was the highest we got to. And then beyond that, you end up going to Demon Primarchs later on. Whoa. But that's way out of our league at the moment. They're putting Magnus in. You can fight Mortarion and the Eldar Avatar and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's a pipe dream. It's a long way off, but we'll get there.
What's it called again?
Tacticus.
If anyone from Tacticus is listening, send me one of those codes. Everyone's got one now. Luton's got one. Everyone's got one. I'll pimp the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Give me one of those codes.
Do it on here. I will call it out on here. I'll literally edit it in all the time, but give me like a character or something as well.
I'm so pleased. The saga continues.
Yeah.
Love it.
The third or second or fourth thing I would say was, welcome to the STC. This is the STC podcast where we talk about lore or Space Marine 2, if that's the thing that just came out. Whatever we're excited about to do with 40k, Warhammer, 30k, whatever, the whole lore thing. And if you become a member of this YouTube channel, you can join the Discord and you can ask questions, because we will get to some questions in a minute. I've got questions from our beautiful viewers, which we'll go over in a minute. But yeah, if you want to join in with this, do that, or come and join Free Terror on Tacticus. That's another option.
Join in on the STC.
Just come and join in. Come and have some fun.
Come remember, do all those things. The show made by members for members.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
and us.
Yeah.
Yes.
People do the thing, and we do the thing. Sir, I wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
When we were talking about the other things that we were talking about, Space Marine 2, it was in my head, and I was like, I really want to ask this question. So, we've seen what is fun. Space Marine 2, we've seen what a fun interaction with 40k is about, right? So if you can't get into like a deep novel, because the stories are great that come out of it, stories of Inquisitors and Space Marine heroes and fallen chaos and what they're doing, and big epic conflicts and things like that. It's quite hard to recreate stories at that level in a tabletop game, right? These are complex narratives, and it's all part of the writing process that create those kind of stories. So with the stories aside, what is fun in the 40k universe, turns out, is getting a bunch of mates and wading through thousands and thousands and thousands of Tyranids, right?
Yes.
Now, I wonder if there is a way that 40k needs to have a bit more fun injected into it, right? It
Okay.
needs a bit more fun injected into it. I wonder if there's a way to really look at what people like about Space Marine and things like that, and kind of put it into the game. And I don't really know how to do it. But do we like Hero Hammer? Is that the thing? Is Hero Hammer the way? Like having really epic champions who are going to fight it out against each other and wade through each other's minion models? I don't.
Yeah. So you're asking, how could Games Workshop capitalise on the popularity of Space Marine 2?
Yeah, kind of.
That's a big question. Games Workshop no doubt will answer it and get it wrong.
Yeah.
Let's make it more competitive. I don't know.
I just think there's proof that 40k is really fun and
Yes.
it's got the potential to be really fun. And
I've been saying it for a while.
10th
edition Warhammer 40k is actually a really solid rule set. I quite like it. I like what they've done. It doesn't matter what colour your Space Marine is, you can play any detachment now.
I like
the
that.
core mechanics are pretty chunked in. The fact that you can join leaders to things now, there's a lot of things going for it. There's a bunch of stuff that you would change and but it's a solid core rule set. And then the only official way to play is the Prion Nexus Leviathan deck and that. So I've been saying it before, and I'll say it again. Missions. We need an open war mission deck. We need a Maelstrom of War mission deck. And one of the things they could capitalise off Space Marine 2 is, say a deck came out and it's called Space Marine Horde Mode. And it's an missions for playing Horde Mode sort of thing. I don't know. It's just spitballing here, but ways of bringing in waves of Orc, ways of bringing in waves of Tyranids, waves of or you can do it against your buddy. It's not the core rules that need the injection, it's the missions that we want. I mean, 3 ways to play open narrative. It was an idea. They could be more ways to play officially. Of course, there's more. I mean, there's combat patrol, but you know what I mean.
Yes. I am also one of those people that thinks that 10th is actually really fun, like a really good rule set. I absolutely would hate to lose the ability to put my HQs in with units. I think it just suits it so much better having your squad with a guy in it who does something for that squad, and they run up together, and it's not like these little dudes dotted around at the back and then that lot charges in, but this guy fails the charge or can't get past his own unit, and all the ugly stuff that comes with having to run solo characters around. And I think that is such a big jump. It's been in Warhammer Fantasy forever, and it's very welcome addition.
Yeah,
to,
it was in 40k before 8th as well, but it took them 2 editions to bring it back in. The Custodies also have a rule which you can spend a command point. If you've got a dude on his own, because his bodyguard unit got blown up, the dude on his own can go and join another unit.
Yeah.
That should be a core CP stratagem.
Yeah, for everyone. Yeah.
Another thing they can do with characters is, they're like, while this guy's leading a unit, that unit gets XYZ. That is a pain in the ass. It should be this model gets XYZ, and while he's with a unit, it converts it to that unit. Yeah, okay, yeah. That should be a basic thing when it comes to characters. Characters do a thing, regardless of whether they're on their own or with it in a unit, and when they're with a unit it's supposed to. So there's a couple of things that they could do to improve that mechanic, but I really like that mechanic too. Yeah, because they do get horribly depowered if they lose their unit, don't they? They suddenly lose something that's quite integral to that character, which is odd. My captain no longer has lethal hits. Why? Yeah. He just forgot how to do it. He's really gutted that his mates got done. So he's just forgotten now. He's sad. Sad captain. We're going to do something big now. We're going to look at some questions. Wow. Because we've just gone crazy for 40 minutes. We've literally just splurged. Minutes? Yeah, about Space Marine. Like 5. We just went for it. Nice. Oh, I'm going to start with a question that confused me, and we can move swiftly on. I don't know if this is a thing, right? So Shazam has asked... Hi, Shazam. Hi, Shazam. Do you agree with the theory that each Primarch has a minor warp god inside them? Right. That they are what was stolen from the Chaos Gods? Is that a theory? It's one of those... It's not a... It's... What's the word? Thing. It's an idea. It's not... So... We know that the Emperor stole fire from the gods on Moloch. Yep. Okay? And the fire from the gods, the thing he stole from the gods, he used to create the Primarchs. We know this. It's told to us from two sources in the Siege of Terror. One from Malcador himself and one from the demons themselves. So both the good guys and the bad guys saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. The Primarchs are not 100% gene crafted of this world. They're not just materia and animal, minimal, vegetable, mineral.
Yeah.
There's also a little bit of in them from it, so they've got a bit of warp. I mean, Magnus the Red in Horus Heresy, he wasn't really a corporeal being. He was incorporeal, and he was always.
I mean, he was red, right?
Yes,
that's weird.
Now, the fire from the gods. We can speculate. That's the word. We can speculate whether it was other little warp gods that he stole. We can speculate whether it was souls. The thing that he took did have some consciousness. So if you just create things, they have no souls. Mm-hmm. So he took a thing, a soul, a thinking thing, and shoved it in. Of
course, yeah, I see.
Because there's a bunch of cloned Primarchs that pop up every now and then. But without their soul jonking around, and then they all go a bit wonky very quickly. So Ferrus Manus is cloned straight away in the Horus Heresy a bunch of times. Horus is cloned. That's another. So whenever you get the clones of the Primarchs, it's just meat,
right? It's just animated meat at that point. It's missing the bit.
The spark. So whether it's a warp god, warp spirit, warp thing, warp not, who knows? But it's definitely a little bit of warp in them, which means, shock horror, all Space Marines have got a little bit of warp in them. Mm. But then all humans got a little bit of warp in them because of the soul thing, and we're psychers, a psychic species, not the Tau things. But the Primarchs are not entirely of this world. I mean, one of them could just go invisible because he didn't want you to see him.
Yeah.
One of them could, the multiple psychics, they all have two powers as well, which is another thing I really like. Like Vulcan just knows things. He knows what's right. He has things. It's also, you see it in Numion in Mount Deathfire. He just picks stuff up. You see it in Vulcan and Vulcan's Lives. He just picks that stuff up. He picks up. Vulcan made Horus a hammer and was going to give him the hammer at Ulanor before he fell. But went no, because he kind of had this inkling was going to go wrong.
Bit of precognition.
So that it's just a knowledge of what is right is in Vulcan, as well as perpetual stuff. You got Sanguinius, who's got his precognition as well as his wings. They've all got two sort of things.
Perturabo is well good at algebra.
Yeah,
like he's just really good at like trigonometry, algebra, that kind of stuff.
He was the engineer and the architect, right? So you got to imagine that the Emperor of Mankind makes these 20 Primarchs to unify the galaxy, and they were never supposed to be split out across the stars. It is the first heretic in the events with the word bearers that initiated that thing. And I am of the opinion that a number of the Primarchs were never supposed to come out of their warp bubble. Were never supposed to come out of their gestation pods.
Oh, okay.
Some of them were supposed to stay in their gestation pods.
So you had some redundancy built in. Order.
So the really killy ones, like the World Eaters that are just supposed to destroy stuff. The World Eaters, Death Guard, Blood Angels, the really killy ones. Iron Hands, those guys, I reckon their Primarchs were supposed to stay in their gestation pods all along, use the gene seed, make the legions, conquer galaxy, done. And then a bunch of them, about half of them, he wanted to actually bring in to maturity as Erda's prophecy and Saturnine, like he wanted to build perpetuals like himself to go on the journey with him. So Rogel Dawn to defend the anything. You'd have had Kurz being the judge. You'd have had Perturabo, he's the architect, the engineer who would have built the new Imperium. Guilliman would have done all the... Guilliman would have probably ran the Great Crusade.
Yeah, he's an admin, definitely.
And Horus would have probably been on Terra doing all the politician stuff. Lorgar would have been born as well as one of the iconoclasts. So you'd have had about... I think I worked it out the other day. It was like 8 of them would have probably been brought into just full human stuff to walk alongside the Emperor, because they clearly had a defined role of something they needed to do, and you needed the person to do it. But there's also a bunch of legions where you really don't need a Primarch for. Blood Angels, World Eaters, Iron Hands, Space Wolves, things like that. Just go murder, death, kill. I think because it was the unification of the galaxy was just it was step one, bring humanity together, but step two was ultimately...
Then you've got to keep it running, right? You've got to
keep it running, and the safety of the entire human race, the Webway Project, the Psychic Awakening, all that sort of stuff. The Horus Heresy is a chapter in a 40,000 year war between the Emperor and the Forces of Chaos, and the Horus Heresy is just a pinbrick in the middle bit, and I've gone off on a tangent like I normally do, so I'm going to shut the F up.
That's right, we like the tangents. Dutch Matrix.
Yes. Hi, Dutch Matrix.
First question, how many bugs have you killed and how many times have you died in game, referring to Space Marine 2?
I need a bug assault gun. I haven't killed any until I get the bug assault, my shotgun, none of that. But in the game, I think about 3 planets worth. And how many times have I died?
Yeah.
I can't recall an occasion in the game where we've ever gone down. I mean, I said it to you earlier, but we haven't gone down.
No.
Sultan hasn't gone down. I don't think I don't think I've ever gone down. I've no
Space
recollection.
Marines.
Yeah.
We're elite warriors, post-human
no
warriors.
recollection of dying whatsoever at any point in multiple times in multiple games.
Yeah. We got a bit of a late question came in that I had to pin because I thought it was really good. It's from Runtherder.
Okay, hi Runtherder.
Hi Runtherder. It says, can the Tyranids access the webway? And if yes, but I think it should be if no, what would happen if they did? Or if yes, what could they do in there? Tyranids have got a really weird interaction with the warp, haven't they? In the sense that they are a psychic shadow.
Yes. The best way that I had heard someone describe the shadow in the warp is, like that white noise on your radio. So you're trying to listen to a radio, some music, someone doing a pop, whatever. You're trying to listen to a radio, and that's the exactly. And that's the exactly. So instead of listening to the messages coming backwards and forwards and the things like that, all of a sudden this white
horrible
noise overtakes. And that's the shadow in the warp. Can Tyranids access the webway? Well, anyone can access the webway, but can they? It's really, really, really hard if you're not an Eldar. Like, it took Magnus, again, Thousand Suns book, it took him some significant warp bullshittery to break through at the very start of that book, not the impact into the webway which broke the Golden Throne, but there's a bit at the beginning. Humans can't just walk up to a Wraithbone portal and press a few buttons or say a few prayers and move through. It doesn't work like that. You got to be of a significant psychic might to crack your way in through a warp, get a Wraithbone portal. And there's very, very, very few incidences. I can only think of a couple where humans get in there. The
Jagatai Khan goes in then, doesn't he?
Well, if one is left open, you could chase
you just jump in behind him. Yeah.
Jagatai Khan went in there. So there's Tyranids actually go up to one. I mean, you'd have to be like an alpha level psyker to go up to one and open one and get in it.
And no one would leave one open if there were Tyranids.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can they get access to the webway? Yeah, but what would they do if they get in there?
Bad things.
Die. Well, the thing is,
they'd have to get in with a ship, wouldn't they? They'd have to it wouldn't.
Or on foot. There's big ones. There's little ones. They're cardboard boxes. Big one, little one. Okay. As soon as they get in there, the Harlequins can essentially control the webway and all that. You could not control, but they could be led around and then turn. They could die.
Yeah. Harlequins would deal with a few termagants and whatever anyway.
Shut that door, open that door, reload that trap door, drop them into a place like the Impossible City, which is eternal, and they never get out, and there's no biomass, and they die.
Yeah. Do Tyranids literally have to float from wherever they come from outside of the known universe? Yes. They literally just move forward until they reach a destination because they don't have warp travel, do they?
No, they do have a thing, I've forgotten what it's called, but it is faster than light travel.
Right, okay.
But it's not warp stuff. And their ships have got names. It's been a long time. But essentially, like the hive mind, they're massive psychic creatures and things like that. There's a thing that they can do to bend time and space and propel their ships faster than light.
Okay.
So they don't go into the warp, but they have a method of propulsion that is really, really quick. Much quicker than the Tau, because the Tau have got their slip space technology, which goes close to the speed of light, but obviously can't reach the speed of light equals mc squared, all that sort of math stuff that I don't understand.
Gross
but
stuff.
That's why the Tau Empire is so small, because they don't have faster than light technology yet. But the Tyranids do. However, the galaxy is really, really big. I mean, it's going to take them hundreds of thousands of millions of years to get from one side to the other.
Yeah.
But Tyranids, no warp, but there's a ship, and it has a name, and it's been explained in the lore before how it works and what it does. But they can get about.
It probably looks like a big shellfish.
Yes.
Probably.
With a big brain on the front going and bending.
Yeah,
things.
doing weird stuff.
Yes.
I had a thing that I wanted to say then, and just thinking about the bending things. That was it. Did you know that we got that? There's an institute just outside of London, that is making plasma propulsion engines.
Nice.
It's crazy, and they've created one that works called the Storm engine. Nice. And I thought, you know what, we're going to make 40k happen by mistake.
Plasma storm, nice.
Storm engine,
sun.
It's a plasma pulse engine.
Awesome.
Rue asks a rude question. No, it's not a rude question. Rue wants to know if there'll ever be an Astrius in the colours of the 13th.
A what?
The big, silly, big Primaris tank from Forge World 1.
No.
No. There you go. Sorry, Rue. And then Rue also asks if Sultan is the vessel that Winters will be reborn into. He already seems to be morphing. Because I know Sultan's kind of started wearing the hats.
Well, Sultan cannot be the vessel that I will reborn in unless Sultan falls to chaos. And Sultan will never fall to chaos.
No, he
because,
won't.
I mean, I'm an Imperial fanboy at heart, but I've got a little bit of chaos in me as well. And a little bit of Xenos in me as well. He's got a little bit of Xenos, doesn't count. If he falls to chaos, which he would never do, I would be shocked and horrified. Then he might just be. I mean, if Sultan falls to chaos, then that's it. Cats and dogs raining from the sky. Pack up your bags. Go into your apocalypse bunker. It's the end of the earth. If you ever see a battle report with that in, just scream, and it's all over. You might as well just drink all the coffee, drink all the beer. Just have fun, live a hedonistic lifestyle, because the asteroid is coming. It's coming.
It is coming. Our favourite American, Wrath of Constantine.
He is our favourite American.
Yeah,
isn't he?
He flies over and
he's very chill
to say
for an
hello.
American.
He is. He is.
He's got guns and everything. Though.
He's got
a
a big
proper
beard.
American.
Yeah, he's a real American. And the last army I saw him with was all like Catachans with guns and stuff. Very American.
4 years working on a Catachan army from the ground up, with all the barrels and all the whiskey and all, half women, half men, half this, half that. Yeah, it's a beautiful army.
Did he come and he fought you with it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Go and find him.
Channel.
Yeah, go find the Catachan thing and watch it.
He's coming back to fight. He's coming over from America at some point. I forget when. Next year, I'm looking at the calendar for 2025, April. So I get to see him again.
See you next April.
Yeah.
Although he's asked a rubbish question.
Oh, we can skip it. Go to the next one. He's our least favourite American.
Okay, we'll skip it then.
Yep.
Runtherd had another question.
Yep.
Saying, now that the Imperium is no longer stagnant technologically, I guess referring to all the stuff that's come out with the Primaris and the and all that stuff. Yeah. Does this mean the setting is slightly less grimdark?
No. Look, the Imperium is still stagnant. So this is the way it works, right? Belisarius Cool was around time. Horus Heresy. During the Horus Heresy, Crusade pattern, you had the Thunder Warrior armor, and Mark II is Crusade era pattern armor, and by the time of the Great Crusade, you have Iron armor and Crusade era armor pattern 5, right? And then during even that time, at the end of the Crusade and start of the Horus Heresy, you went to, no, it was pattern 4. Then you had pattern 6 and 7. So in the space of 200 years, you get 7 patterns of armor thing, right?
Yeah.
From start of Great Crusade to end of Horus Heresy, 7 patterns of armor. After the heresy, Guilliman turned around to Belisarius Cawl and the priests of Mars and said, improve on that, improve on the tanks. And the tank improvement from the beginning of the heresy to end of the heresy, from the crappy Malcadors all the way up to the good stuff they had at the end, like storm hammers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
There was an evolution in tech. Obviously, there was the bad stuff as well, like Stormbirds were sleek, not the Soka pattern Stormbird that you can get from Forge World, but the OG Stormbirds, which were sleek Dark Age of technology stuff. You got the Custodes tanks, Galatas Dreadnoughts, things like that. So there's the Dark Age stuff, which is... Anyway, what I'm saying is... During the time of the Great
what
Crusade,
are you saying, Winters?
During the time of the Great Crusade, there was technological progression from here to there.
Yeah.
And then Belisarius Cawl went in a bunker with a bunch of Gene Seed and a bunch of people he robbed from Calth and from this world and from that world and that world and that world. And Guilliman said, make more stuff and improve upon it. And don't come out until I come and call you. This is in the great work. This is in the thing. So this is... It hasn't been that well explained in the lore. But it kind of makes sense. So you're a tech priest with a mechanical cog mind, and you've been set on one task by the Lord Commander of the Imperium to work on this thing, and don't come out of your bunker until I tell you.
Yeah.
And he worked on that thing, and 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 worked for 10,000 years. And we have Primaris Marines, and we have the new kit, and we have Mark 10 pattern stuff and things.
Because the Grey Shields
that
came out of that were actually Horus Heresy.
Many of them
Space
were.
Marines.
Not all of them, but many of them came out from the time of the Great Crusade. I mean, in Space Marine 2, the video game, one of the characters in there says, I remember Calth when it burned, and the 2 are Primaris and Titus isn't. And the 2 are chatting like, well, we remember the heresy last week.
Yeah.
So that jump forward isn't a jump forward for the Imperium. What it is there was a standard level of technological advancement during the time of the Great Crusade, during the time of the Emperor. That one tech priest continued under the orders of the Lord Commander of the Imperium. And when Guilliman went knocking on his door and he opened up his case, and here he is, look at all my toys, look at it. And that's in the Dawn of Fire series as well. Guilliman's reveal to the High Lords of Terror, it's really cool. Belisarius' cool reveal. He, in the first book in the Dawn of Fire series, he shows off, look at my wonderful toys, like Willy Wonka. It's a nice section. I quite like it. And he gets a couple of Primaris Marines to fight with each other and things. It's a very good... Him does a thing, because ordered to do a thing, machine wine goes brrr. Apart from that, what have the Romans ever done for us? Nothing. There's been no technological advancement. It's been stagnation, regression, heresy, things. Oh my!
Yeah.
Now we've got the Lion and the Guilliman, and Belisarius Cawl is out, and now we might get some kind of change at some point. But Guilliman hasn't even crushed the ecclesiarchy yet. He's like, well, I've got to use them there, everyone. Now they've got to keep going. What can I do? God Emperor. It's all messed up. He's an exception to the rule. That's Warhammer 40k for you. For Warhammer 40k is generally this is the thing, and generally this is the thing, and generally this is the thing, but there's always an exception to the rule. There's a word bearer who's the most loyal, emperor-loving word bearer on the planet. There's Ultramarines who turn evil. There's an exception to the rule, and Belisarius is one exception to the rule. And he's only this far away from being declared a heretic by the Tech Priest of Mars. And the only reason why the Tech Priest of Mars can't declare Belisarius Cawl a heretic is because he's older than all of them and met the Omnissiah, the avatar of the Omnissiah, in person. You can't. It's like telling off the Space Wolves. You can't really do it because they've never... Anyway, so there hasn't been a thing.
There's still grim darkness.
There's been an exception
everywhere.
In this one instance, and it's that seed. It's that, can't we go? Surely there's some more. Surely there's that little hope, that flicker, that diamond in the rough, that ray of sunshine. Maybe there is. No. It's not going to be any good. It's going to get horribly worse. But there's the thing there. Anyway, so that's what's going on there. You have to. The annoying thing about it is you have to read the Gathering Storm series, which is out of print, and you have to read multiple books to get it all down. It's not clearly spelled out. It was really annoying. Yeah, I mean the new 40k rulebook when they talk about the Mechanicus.
Yep.
There should be a section in there which explains it very, very clearly to people who are like, well, this spoils everything. No, it's a thing that happened once. Now, if they make it a thing that happens again and again, we'll see what the future brings when the Lion finally meets up with Guilliman, when the Yellow King and the things, and there's things coming. But we'll see that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to. Does that make sense to you? Am I making sense here?
You're making a lot of sense. I mean, we took the scenic route. But it's filled in a lot of the bits there. When Guilliman first has to goes to meet his dad when he's back, right? There's a thing that happens. There's a psychic, like rabid psychic conversation is had, right?
Yes.
And
we don't really know, but we sort of know. Yes. And
I
forget which book it is. Yeah.
There's there's like words and stuff, and the Emperor kind of reveals that they're his sons, but also his tools, and it's all a bit rough for Guilliman. And I just think I just wanted to say, I think Guilliman's really a good lad for taking that and then carrying on with the task at hand.
Yeah. Also, the Emperor isn't the same Emperor that he remembers, right? Because he had to give up that. Well, 1, 10,000 years on the throne, but 2, the events of the Dark King and the Siege of Terror changed the Emperor. What he had to give up because of the Dark King. So he's not the same. He's not the bit. Spoilers. I won't.
Yeah, let's not.
So there was a significant change with the Emperor during the Siege of Terror. Shock horror. And the Guilliman thing and I mean, Guilliman, he's like, okay, fine, done. He still believes, I think. He still believes, and I think the Lion believes. Whether the Yellow King believes or not, we'll
very interested to find out, actually. Bakaj San asks a question that even I can answer this one. So
nice.
Is Titus the firstborn Marine to undergo the transformation into a Primaris? No. And does this open the door for other firstborn Marines, including legendary ones, to also undergo the transformation? They have. So all of our favourite, I mean, it is a lore thing, but it's also kind of a models thing as well. But all our favourite, like chapter masters and special librarians and stuff have all crossed the Rubicon Primaris already. So you have Marnius Calgar and Mephiston, and most recently Dante and Azrael, and they're all Primaris now.
Yeah, and as they get the process
get their head cut off and stitched onto a bigger body by the looks of it. Yeah. It looked pretty rough on Titus there. Like.
It didn't look like he had a good time, right?
No.
But recovered in 2 days, is he a perpetual? That's why I want to know.
He is definitely a special boy.
Is he a perpetual?
I'm a big fan of him. He could be.
He recovered in 2 days, and the other guy said that on the thing in Space Marine 1, you died on that thing. But so what you doing here? And that was 100 years ago.
He also resists. He resists warp influence.
Yeah.
In the first game, he encounters a Chaos Lord who's like, "Oh, hang on a minute, this isn't affecting you." So he's definitely very special. Yeah. We've got loads of questions, so what I think we're going to do, because there's quite a few, is because we're already over our hour now.
Okay.
I'm going to take the questions out that we've answered.
Right.
And if I pinned your question, we'll add it on to the next one.
We're never going to get to them, are we?
Because we're never going to get through all these questions. There's lots of things here.
But even if you go to
those ones.
Whenever,
yeah. Basically, it's lost forever. I'll quickly read out what Rob John's letters said, because it's sweet. Rob John's letter says, "Do you think with the proposed Amazon series still kind of in flux, it would be best for Games Workshop to focus on a Titus-led series? The familiarity of non-40k players to the story and ancillary characters we all know and love would make the most sense, in my opinion. Also, as a proud hobby dad, my 13-year-old gender-neutral kid is painting up their first Tyranids as I type. What would be the best book or story to help continue their... it cuts off there, but I'm assuming help continue their descent into the bottomless pit of 40k. What's your recommendation for a new kid on the block?
Iron Snakes is a great standalone book.
Iron Snake.
Gaunt's Ghost series is absolutely fantastic. Should get that. That's a good opening thing as well, because it's basically Band of Brothers, but with humans. So Band of Brothers or Iron Snakes if you want a standalone book. I don't think that a new TV series should be Titus or Space Marines at all. It should be human-centric.
Yes, definitely human-centric. It will allow the most people to understand what's going on in Introduced World. And Space Marines, I think, are much more fun in that context when they are a rarity and when they are like, oh God, that's a Space Marine.
Yeah.
It gives them the proper context. Also, from what I've been seeing with the development of the Space Marine games, Games Workshop are very, 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 very restrictive over their IPs and how they're used.
Yes.
In terms of when you're designing new characters, things like that. So I have a feeling Titus really needs to grow under that team who created him through the Space Marine games. They're already talking about Space Marine 3. You're definitely going to get it. This one has blown the charts to pieces.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a much bigger project. Hopefully it doesn't lose the charm that it's got and doesn't lose the passion behind it with the success, which could happen. But I think Titus needs to... We need to play out Titus's story rather than see it, and and I would very much like to see humans. Things like Gaunt's Ghosts, military, a group of guys who are together, Band of Brothers kind of thing.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. You have multiple stories, them and an Inquisitor off doing her stuff, or a Rogue Trader off over here doing whatever. You could combine the stories into threads and have different views of the universe. It'd be really good.
Yeah, Eisenhorn, Inquisitor type of thing, Band of Brothers. Yeah. I mean, Bloodlines is another book. Chris Raitt, Bloodlines. That's essentially Blade Runner in the 41st millennium, and it's police. It's about an RBT's investigator.
Love RBTs.
It centers around just a couple of characters in a hive city, and that's it. So that's something like that. Just bring a good story, setting the 40k verse to the big screen or the small screen. Just make the story first. And if the story first works with compelling characters, then you'll have a hit on your hands. You don't have to have Space Marines and Horus Heresy and all that. Well, I mean, much that we'd love to see. The Siege of Terror or the Drop Site Massacre is Fan 5. Love to see that. But don't start there. No.
If your kid wants to just get hype about Tyranids, one of the places where I found Tyranids are presented in the most cool way was it Devastation of Baal or Desolation of Baal? Why can I not remember which?
The Devastation
of Baal is as it sounds. It's when the Tyranids came for the Blood Angels. Obviously, it's not the Blood Angels in it, but the Tyranid stuff in it is really good.
But read Dante first. Dante, then the Devastation of Baal. Devastation of Baal isn't one of those that I recommend.
Okay.
I think it's okay.
It's okay, but what I'm saying is if you don't want to get straight into like the complexities of the lore, it's got some good Tyranid bits, set pieces in it. It's got like just how the phases of the Tyranid invasion. It's got like a special agent Tyranid in the form of a lictor and how they work and operate. It's got good, just like little piece Tyranid stuff to get excited about Tyranids.
Yeah,
I haven't read Leviathan. I know that Leviathan is another one that doesn't really have a story. It was more of an introduction to the Leviathan models.
Right.
And that will be half centered on the Tyranids, I presume, as well. So that might be one to look at. But yeah. Anyway, thanks so much, everybody, for listening to us for all this time. I will actually sort out the pins, the ones that we answered. If I missed you out, I definitely won't forget. He doesn't believe
definitely
me.
Won't forget.
I won't forget your questions because we love all the questions.
But what you should do is when Chris puts the thing in the Discord again to ask for STC questions again, ask your question again.
Or ask it again, yeah. That's good.
And then if you keep asking it and asking it and asking it, we might get to that in February.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one. This has been the STC. This is the Storytime podcast, isn't it? That's just what it was.
Where's the P come from? It's STC.
Storytime.
Cast.
It's just the Storytime cast, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no pod.
There's no pod in it, but it's not on the pod. It's not on the iPod or anything, is it? That's
it's
where
not a podcast.
This is not a
podcast. This is a video. This is a cast.
This is the cast. Yeah.
I suddenly realised, that this makes it more accurate.
Yeah.
We're not a pod. We are a
not a podcast.
Yeah.
We're a cast.
We meant it to be that. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And you've just watched it, and that's the STC. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one. And I love you. Bye. Thank you. We're not going to do a long bit at the end. Where's the button gone? I'm trying to find the button. All right, bye.